Most businesses and freelancers really struggle on getting more leads and things like that. You know, there's a million different ways to get leads, but some of them work better for different businesses. And I want to share a framework that I learned recently on how to do that and how to go about getting leads in any business and figuring out what is the best way for you to get business leads. So what is the best way for you? There's this framework called the Bullseye Framework, and I'm going to try and keep it real simple. The idea is you have to test a lot of different customer acquisition channels, but how do you figure out which one's best? So firstly, you know, it's written in this book called Traction by Gabriel something, who's the founder of DuckDuckGo. He lists out there 19 different methods of customer acquisition. And it's things like affiliate marketing, offline ads, existing platforms, offline events, SEO, engineering as marketing, so like little projects, speaking engagements, trade shows, direct cold outbound, viral marketing, community building, info content marketing, and like lead magnets, organic social media marketing, influencers, so blogs as well, business development, so like partnership development, online ads in general, search engine marketing, unconventional PR, so like, you know, publicity stunts and things like that, more general PR, so regular kind of like press articles and things like that, email marketing. Those are 20 customer acquisition channels. Now, how the hell do you figure out which one's best? And they share this like bullseye framework in the book Traction, which I think was really interesting. But okay, so once you have these 20 different ways to attract customers, rank each one of them and think about each one. Now, in my case, like you're meant to brainstorm each one. And what I did was I thought of like, what does a successful outcome look like? So if I'm successful in this, what does it look like? What is probably the cost of acquisition for a new customer? What is the main barrier to entry? Like, is it time? Does it take a lot of time? Does it take a lot of money? Does it take a lot of knowledge or access, right? Do you need to know special people, or do you need to know how to do things, for example, like search engine optimization? Maybe you need to know how to do keywords and backlinks and all that. And what is the cheapest test that I can do? So I find those 4 things. What is the cheapest test? How can I run the cheapest experiment to see if this thing works or not? And within the cheapest test, I give it a rating on speed. So like from 1 to 5 stars, 5 stars is like, you know, I can complete and launch this test in, let's say, a week. And you know, 1 star is like, it's going to take me like 3 months to test this, or like several months more than that. Generally, most things take a few months to test though. So, you know, just keep that in mind. And then the other rating I give the cheapest test is a cost. So is this going to be expensive? Am I going to have to pay for it? Is it going to be completely free? Am I going to pay, you know, like tens of dollars, 10, 50, 70 bucks, okay? Or is it hundreds, or is it in the low thousands, or is it like multiple thousands? Do this for every single one. Don't skip one, even though, okay, like, listen, I'm not gonna run billboard ads for a business that I'm starting out, right? Like, I'm not gonna run, you know, multi-$1,000 billboards. But do this experiment anyway. Just go through the motions, do every single one. And then what you're gonna do from there is identify, there are frameworks like this bullseye where, you know, the outside are the least probable ones, then the inside ring is like choose 6, which you think have potential. And then the bullseye is just 3, which you think have the highest potential. And the highest potential for me usually is like, what is the cheapest to test, fastest to test, and obviously like I have the information and knowledge to test. Once you identify those 3, you set out a time frame to test those at, you know, maybe 1 or 2 months or 3 months or something like that. And you just dedicate yourself to doing those as much as you can. And what this framework shares is like, okay, as soon as one of them works, stick to that. I'm a big advocate for focus. So I believe in like doing few things, but just the right things. And that can get you very far. And so generally I do not like to split my focus. But the only reason I think in this case, it's good to split your focus across 3 different acquisition channels is because it lets you test. As soon as one thing brings a little bit of results, focus and dial in on that and double down and drop the rest and just do that one. If you can get more results out of that, keep going and just like squeeze as many like leads as you can from that specific customer acquisition channel. And then when you need to, you go back to the drawing board and you try the next thing. You try the next top 3 until one of them works and squeeze that one, right? Now, in the situation which, you know, in which like one of those 3 doesn't work, in let's say 3 months. So you test them for 3 months, these 3, you actually have to put real effort into testing those 3 over these 3 months. If you say that you're going to do cold outreach and you outreach to, let's say like 3 or 4 people most days, and you know, you do that like just on weekdays, sometimes you miss some days. It's like, you're just not doing enough volume. You're not doing anywhere near enough. You have to go full scale. You have to spend like, you know, full work days just doing those business development methods that you've set out for yourself. And do those 3, do it for 3 months. If none of them work, you drop them, pick the next 3, test those. Something's gonna work eventually. Something is going to work eventually. You just have to stick to it. Most of the time, People just don't do marketing activities in enough volume. The bigger issue and the bigger trouble as a small business owner, I know this because I've built a business over the past 3 years. Once you get a client, you then focus on the client and you want to do a good service, but then you forget about the marketing. And so you're actually not doing those marketing actions anymore. And I'm guilty of this. I used to struggle with this. You cannot let the marketing action slip. You have to keep going. That's the really simple bullseye framework. List these 20 different customer acquisition channels, list out the cheapest tests, the success case, the cost of acquisition, and the barriers. Figure out which ones are the most high potential avenues for you, and test those 3. Just pick top 3, most potential, go with that for 3 months. Test them, do them a lot. Do as much as you humanly can. I'm talking properly 8 to 10 hours a day. You're gonna find something that works eventually. This is a framework that I've been applying recently on my own business, and I think it's really, really useful. Comment if you have any questions, and subscribe if you enjoyed.